aggressive with a lot of dancing. On one, homie. You know that boy's gonna hit. I'm freaking on one, homie. Energy hit. I'm on one. On one, homie. Jet fuel. Jet fuel. I'm freaking on one, homie. I'm on one, homie. I'm on one. On one, homie. You know that boy's gonna hit. I'm freaking on one, homie. Energy hit. I'm on one. I found you. I went trick-or-treating. I freaking knocked on your door. You answered it, and then I spanked you. Every one of you individually, homie. You never even tried it. You looked at the label like a bunch of crybabies. What up? What up? It's Garage Jim, homie. And today, I'm talking about cutting and bulking. Nonsense, homie. Cutting and bulking. The truth about cutting. No, my thoughts on it, man. Some tips on it. Is it worth it? Before we get into this here, please click the subscribe button. Why? Because I got content coming out all the dang time for you, homies. So click subscribe, and let's get into this, man. God bless all of you, homies. I hope you're living from here, man, and staying out of here. This thing will have you on some crazy stuff, man. And let me tell you, man, the industry, the fitness industry, the bodybuilding industry, it's full of a lot of nonsense, man. It's full of a lot of self, and we got to watch for that. Bodybuilding can be a beautiful thing, man, and it is a beautiful. It's been a light to my life. It can be a very spiritual journey of restriction, getting closer to God, building up your temple, working on your physique, having passion in life, exercise, working your heart and lungs, sculpting yourself, consciousness of what you consume, regimen can be a very spiritual journey. It can also be a toxic, too much self, me, more, all about me, thinking about me too much. It can be both, man, or it can be one or the other. It could be whatever. So, we got to watch for that, man. We got to be on guard. My sponsor would always told me, "Hey, man, one day you might be walking down the street in a tank top, man. The next day you might be walking down the street in a thong. You don't even know how you got there, man. We got to really watch for that, man. You know. So you just got to know. So look, man, I was thinking about cutting and bulking and what I think, and I never really liked the idea of the traditional sense of cutting and bulking, what I hear about it. And that doesn't mean cutting and bulking. You know, I use the term cutting and bulking as nonsense. But the way I see a lot of people do it doesn't seem to be something that would work for me personally. I'm going to talk to you about some tips and stuff about what I think about cutting and bulking and how I would suggest doing it, how it works in my life. And I just want to say a few things, man. Number one, the problem with the traditional cutting and bulking and a lot of things in the fitness industry is we got to find things that are sustainable. We got to find a way that it works where we don't fall off, where it can be enjoyable, where it can be a joyous experience, where it can be something that the way that we find it, so it's not a struggle, so it's a gift, you know, like sobriety is to me. A lot of people say to me, you know, I know how hard it is to stay sober. I think there's no struggle, man, because of the power of God. It's a gift, being sober. There's no struggle. It's amazing. That's the same with bodybuilding, man. It's not a struggle. Yeah, it's hard work, but it's all about getting high. And a lot of times we do things in bodybuilding, in the fitness game, and this and that, where it's just not going to be sustainable for people. Extreme dieting, you know, I'm either forcing myself to eat so many calories. How do I consume? You know, I get a lot of questions from people, and a lot of them are like, I do get a lot of questions from people. I'm really blessed for that on Instagram, on YouTube, all that. I get a lot of this. I get a lot of, I have a hard time gaining weight
how can I get more calories in, more calories, more calories. So what I hear is I'm forcing myself to eat, and it's difficult for me to force myself to eat this much food. That's craziness to me. Forcing yourself to eat enough food, all that, man. That's too much. The other thing I get is I have a hard time gaining weight. You know, what are some tips on gaining weight and stuff and all that? And then I got the opposite. You know, about you know I'm starving. You know, it's just like, hey man, let's pump our brakes, man. Let's recoup. Let me show you a Gemma. Gemma's in a cut right now, right, Gemma? So so number one, man, I've never believed in working against what God gave us. You know, that's a really big thing for me. There's a lot of people out there, and I've seen this a lot, with really beautiful, nice, lean builds. They're lean, they're tall, they're slender, whatever, and they get obsessed with the internet and with people on social media who are have a ton of muscle, whether they're a drugged out bodybuilder or they're just naturally gifted to have a nice build, whatever it is, you know, and they get obsessed with that and they want that. And they work against what God gave them. So my first thing is, if God gave you a nice, lean physique, work with that. You don't need to force yourself. There's a lot of people out here eating, I'm going to eat 5,000 calories a day. It's like, homie, you're natural. You're not on, let alone TRT. You're not even on steroids or anything. What makes you think you're going to replicate the diet of some drugged out bodybuilder? You know, I've never believed in seeing what people do on the internet and just kind of replicating it to that point. And I want you to understand, man, we got to take with a grain of salt what people say online anyway. You might watch your favorite bodybuilder and he might tell you exactly what he does with his training, his diet, you know, this and that. But we don't really know these people, man. How do we know that's really what they're doing? You know, so I'm not saying anyone's a liar, but we don't really know these everybody, you know, and what they're doing and what's true and what's not, you know, so I always take that with a grain of salt. So my first thing is, man, don't work against what God gave you by doing anything extreme. Bodybuilding's an illusion anyway. If you have a nice lean build, a nice lean physique, a nice looking, you're slender, you're slim, whatever, you're not, God didn't create you with this kind of build. I'm kind of a shorter, I'm 5'6.5", 5'7" on Tinder, and you know, I kind of have I kind of have a shorter, stockier build. You know, I'm not too stocky. I'm 171, 172 pounds right now, but it's easier for me to look a little bigger, maybe, than some people. Some people might have a much leaner build, and it's harder for them. They look kind of scrawny. But if they work on looking ripped and tight, they're going to look bigger because it's an illusion anyway. So you don't need to force yourself. It's all about staying out of here, man. This thing right here is crazy. And social media is dangerous too, man, because you see people and you think you get obsessed with looking like them or whatever. Work with what God gave you. So the other thing I'll say is, as far as sustainability goes, I've never really believed in going from one extreme to the other. First of all, I've never believed in an off season. I'm not a competitive bodybuilder anyway. There is no off season, homie. I've never bought into an off season. I like to stay close to the mark year round with a little variation. I don't want to get too far away from the physique that I really like to have, and then have to scramble to get to get back to it. Since I've achieved a 6-pack or 8-pack or whatever the heck I have, I've kept it. I've never lost it. I mean, I might have looked a little looser after 5 days in Florida when I, got freaking beach blow, but I have it back 4 days after that when I've released all the water I'm holding. I've never lost it, man. And so I've always believed in staying close to the mark. Now, as far as cutting and bulking goes, when I transition to what I do as cutting and bulking, it starts with a variation of like 100 calories a day adjustment. It's like if I'm at that's not really true. Let's say I got up to 3,000 calories a day, which was really high for me, man. Like that was really high for me, and I'm actually really happy with myself that I allowed myself to do that, because it's good for your hormones, man. It's good for your mentality. It's good for your rest. It's good for your workouts. It's good for everything. But 3,000 calories a day, dude, like even that's like really high for me. That's not extreme eating like, you hear about a lot. I eat 6,000 calories a day. That's craziness, man. I mean, it's for somebody my size who's, somebody who's just trying to put on some muscle and be in a little surplus, enough to feel good and train well and look good and still maintain a semi-tight look and the whole thing. I'm not forcing myself to eat 5,000 calories, homie. I'm eating clean food. I've never bought into dirty bulking, man. I've always thought that was craziness. I know people personally who they're just so obsessed with putting on size, they're going to eat anything. Oh, I'm going to hibachi. I just need calories. That's what people talk about. I just need calories. Like it's no longer about health and fitness. It's just about calories. So that's not healthy. Oh, I'm just going to get calories any way I can. Forget calories, homie. Let's be clean. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's freaking be conscious of what we're putting in our body. Yeah, it's okay to indulge in a cheat meal here and there if you've earned it, but that whole dirty bulking thing, I'm just going to get in calories. Doesn't matter which way or how, or I just need the calories. Nah, man, that's not me. That's not me. I want to eat clean. I want to be conscious. I want to know what's in my food, what I'm putting in my body. I want to be doing this for a long time. I want to take care of my organs and my body and be healthy and feel good. Just calories, a bunch of sodium, and I feel like junk like that, man. And it's not that important for me to put on more muscle. I just want to feel good and look good, man. I mean, that's what are your goals? What's the end goal? Are you going for Mr. Olympia? Are you Jay Cutler, man? I mean, if you are and you're watching this, I'm honored. But most people, man, just want to feel good and look good. You don't have to do craziness to do that, man. You got to find what's sustainable. So let's say I got up to 3,000 calories, and it kind of transitions there from winter to or not winter, summer. I'm sorry, from winter to spring. After winter comes spring. Yeah. So for the spring shredding, let's say, I'm going to pull it down a little bit, man. From 25, let's say I was at 3,000, then I'll go down maybe to 2,500. I'll start there. And I only weigh in once a week, every single Saturday morning after a week of clean eating. So if I'm cheating on Saturday night and Sunday night, that means that I've had a couple of cheat meals for the week. That means I'm eating clean, which I've done for 10 years. I found what works so I don't ever fall off. This is sustainable for me. I've been doing it for 10 years, and I could see doing it for the rest of my life. Freaking, that doesn't mean I will do it the rest of my life. What's a man if he can't change his ideology? But that means that Monday through Friday, I'm eating spot on clean. So Saturday morning is when I'm going to be at my tightest, and that's when I'm going to weigh in once a week. So I say stay off the scale because weight fluctuates, water weight, everything. The only way to accurately measure is once a week after a week of clean eating, first thing in the morning, completely naked after you've gone to the bathroom, whatever, be as tight as possible, and you record it or whatever. You take it. If 2,500 I'm not getting a result, and I only want to lose a little bit each week, I don't want to lose a ton of weight each week. Slow and steady, man. Sustainable. You lose a pound to a pound and a half a week, I tell people who are trying to lose weight. If you can lose a pound a week, dude, you're freaking money. I mean, you're freaking in the game. If I weigh in now and I lost a half pound in a week, I'm happy as long as there's progress. It can be slow and steady. That's the most sustainable way to do it anyway. So weighing in, so 2,500 calories, let's say that's like, let's call that maintenance. You know, maintenance has a lot of variations and maintenance changes based on your, you know, how your activities are and a lot of factors go into it. So not one, a lot of people just think there's one number and that's maintenance. There's a lot, it changes. But, let's say that 2,500, and we're talking about if we're counting calories. You don't have to. You can count macros, or you could just be kind of winging it and not count anything and make adjustments if you're that dialed in. But let's say you're counting just for the sake of this video. I'll pull it down to 2,400 or 2,300. Then I'll see my result in a week. Then I'll pull it down a little more. If I'm making progress like that, I don't need to go down to 1,800. You know, that, but maybe slowly and steadily I will if I'm not getting the results that I want. So it's got to be a slow and steady thing. And I believe in small changes to get the progress you want. Not crash dieting, not craziness, not dirty, not unhealthy, clean, slow and steady. So I've never believed in any extreme either way, with the cutting, starving yourself, freaking what else, intermittent fasting. I mean, those definitions have so many freaking keto diet, carnivore diet. I've always believed in balance and health and consciousness and not buying into the latest fad diets and any of that. I've always, and it works for me, I've always believed in just being a slow and steady and finding what you enjoy doing so you don't fall off. Those are my thoughts, man. Comment below. God bless all you together. Let's get this dang muscle. I'm out.